I'm going to bring Fathom in. Fathom's been a little bit slow in joining recently, but I'll give it an extra minute or so. And it's also weird. Zoom is now asking me, even though it's my Fathom, every time I have to give it permission to come in. All right, here we go. My next guest is the founder and CEO of Connect the Dots, a strategy first marketing consultancy and the creative force behind Concepts Studio. With roots in design and a sharp strategic lens, she helps organizations bridge the gap between big ideas and real execution, what she calls the messy middle. An award winning marketer and national speaker, Content Entrepreneur Expo, Content Marketing World, MACON. I had the pleasure of standing side by side with her as we talked about AI at CEX. She is known for making marketing practical, creative, and human. Her work sits at the intersection of strategy, design, and AI, helping leaders work smarter and stay authentic in rapidly evolving digital landscapes. Today, we are going to be looking at how marketers and owners can leverage AI tools in Canva to take their messaging to the next level with Maliha Khan. Maliha, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
So, what was your entry point into working with AI tools for graphics and why the focus on Canva?
That's interesting. So, like late 2024, I found myself laid off just like a lot of other people and decided to start using AI. As skeptical as I was at the beginning. And truly AI has kind of become my co-founder. And around the time of like April 2025, Canva came out with this massive update. We're talking Canva code, Canva sheets, and most importantly, Canva AI. And it's just taken design to a whole different level. And since then, I've just been a super fan and following because I really think they're doing a great job of bringing in features that we've long been waiting for to make design easier.
All right. And I know that a lot of marketers and a lot of small business owners use and are familiar with Canva. In fact, probably more than I. I'm more of a Photoshop guy because that was the tool that was around when I first started, but I know that my team uses Canva both for our Flight New Media and Agents of Change stuff as well as the work for our clients. Now, I think when most people think of Canva, they're thinking about templates and drag and drop design. Why do you think that a lot of people don't realize what Canva is capable of today?
I think that's actually a very great point. A lot of times when I am training and doing workshops, one of the things that we talk about is that Canva's kind of hidden certain features. So it depends on the type of file that you're in. So your video AI tools are not going to pop up unless you're in a video file. And I don't think a lot of people register that. Like it really just depends on what file you've got open. For example, if you're in a presentation, magic magic animate will pop up and it will take care of your entire presentation. If you're in if you've selected a text box, magic morph pops up and kind of allows you to do fun things like turning your text into a mylar balloon, things like that. But I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people don't realize the how powerful Canva really is. It's not as much as let's just select a template and adjust the text and boom, let's go. It's more so like you choose the template, the skeleton that you want, and really make it your own. And there's a lot of ways that you can do that right now.
It sounds like a lot of the menu items are very contextual, as you were saying. And because of that, I'm sure that if you never thought about video, you're not noticing all the cool video tools. So, as you mentioned, Canva's been rolling out a lot of these AI powered features. If we're not familiar with everything that's been going on in Canva, what are some of the AI tools that you're most excited about?
I think most importantly, if we stick with the basics, I think Magic Write is a really great way to start if you are having what I call blank page syndrome and you're not quite sure what idea you want to talk about. You have the option now to just use Magic Write to come up with a brief list or to come up with a blog outline. It's not going to be the same as using your chat GPT account or Claude, whichever tool you use. because obviously you've trained that particular learning model. Canva Magic Write is just a simple way without any training. If you just need a quick idea to get started, that is a great place to go. Another really great feature is Magic Design. And with Magic Design, if I say I have a specific headshot that I want to use, and I can now upload that and give it instructions to incorporate it into a flyer or a presentation deck, and give it instructions on what the tone should look like, what type of design am I really looking for. I think the trick is, a lot of times people are like, wait a minute, sometimes we get really great results, other times we don't. And I'm like, isn't that the problem with AI all around? I think it's really different when you're using Canva AI, because you have to think about the work that you're producing, what you want that to look and feel like, versus if I'm just brainstorming a particular idea in Chat GPT, right? I might be going back and forth and actually brainstorming. I think Canva AI only wants to know, what do you want the file to look like? What type of tone it needs to have, what type of style does it need to keep in mind, what type of colors do you want it to use. um, and then there are several other tools that I really like to point out. One of the most popular ones is Magic Media. Magic Media allows you to go from text to image, text to graphic, text to video, and the latest one is text to 3D model.
Mhm.
So for anyone that needs to showcase a 3D model of some sort, that's a really great way to do that. Um, Videos, I will warn, are only 5.8 seconds. So there's a constraint there. Otherwise, Canva really gives you permission to use anything that you generate with this particular feature.
So it feels like there's obviously prompting that happens in Canva, but it may not be the same experience that people have in a ChatGPT or Claude. What does your workflow look like when you are trying to create the perfect image or the perfect video? Are you working in something like ChatGPT and then bringing the prompts over to Canva, or are you just working straight within Canva when you're trying to get your best results?
So I've played with this a couple of different ways, and I like to work directly within Canva and play around and see which word does the job, right? Sometimes I've used like a name of a Indian sweet and it doesn't really register, and then I have to kind of specify like another way to maybe call out that particular sweet. And so sometimes it just comes down to semantics, like what words are you using? Are you getting a little too detailed? Maybe you need to back up a step and go a little bit more basic for it to kind of get the gist of where you're wanting to go. It's hard for us as humans to take the visuals in our head and translate it, right? So, and then I always like to tell people, the tool is only going to give you better results if you do a better job explaining, right? And I'm sure you say this probably all the time too, that weak prompts produce weak results, strong prompts get you strong results, same concept. So I think if it comes down to, like, say, social media, right? I might use ChatGPT to brainstorm on what my social media content calendar for the next month or the next quarter needs to look like. And then I will use Canva to build out all of those different graphics. And that seems to be working really well for me personally.
And that sounds like a huge time saver for those of us who do need to create a month's worth of social media posts at a time.
Yep.
So, could you just kind of walk me through your workflow, whether it's your business or a client's business? Let's say that you use something like a regular LLM to generate the ideas for the month or whatever it may
Yep.
be. Is there like a batch all type of approach that you can take to get 30 days worth of images for social media?
Absolutely. You could totally do that. So I'm glad that you brought that up, because I always recommend people to batch all of their content. Canva has made it easier now with the release of Visual Studio 2.0 for you to add different pages, and then also different pages for like different formats. So meaning Facebook, LinkedIn, and whatnot. And so that makes it really, really easy now to batch content. I think the first approach is I like to just do it myself because I have a design background. So I just like to open up a file and start out with like say 10 to 15 posts, right? And so I like to batch them that way. It depends on if I have a specific theme in play or if I have like a specific topic that I'm trying to really drill down that month. And you can just go ahead and within the same project create all of those different images. The other thing that I will point out is Bulk Create is a wonderful way to create up to 100 images really quickly. Um, and I might have like a spreadsheet of, tips that I need to turn into social media graphics. I can now use that spreadsheet. It could be a Canva sheet, it could be a Google sheet. There's a way to import from HubSpot. And I will go ahead and pull in that spreadsheet using Bulk Create. And then it's as simple as just telling the tool which text needs to go to which text box. And then literally it uses that template to produce up to 100 graphics. Notice I said template. So it's really important to have a template in place. A lot of the clients that I work with have specific templates for tips, have specific templates for testimonials. It has to be content that is easy enough to switch the text out. I just recently learned that people have been doing this with images as well. Haven't tried it out yet, but the tool is evolving at a rapid pace, just like every other AI tool. And so I think we're just starting to see now Canva is getting better and better at making it easier to produce a large amount of graphics.
And so you're creating this content. So far, what, if I understand you correctly, is what you've done is you take, let's just say that you've got a day spa and you have like, 30
Yep.
tips over the course of the month that you want to talk to people about skincare or something like that.
Yep.
You could put that into a Google Doc, a spreadsheet, what have you, upload it. And if you've got a template that's already branded with all your stuff, it's going to create one of those kind of quote images, right? Where it would basically have the
Yes.
text, whether it's Arial or
Yep.
Mylar balloons, whatever you
Yep.
want. Um, and it will just create that. But what you're also saying is you haven't done it, but that same technology can generate images as well. So you would get not just the text, but you might also get a photo of somebody getting Botox or a massage or whatever would be appropriate for that day.
Yeah, so like I said, it's one of those things that I'm very, very eager to try out, but I was very surprised to learn that somebody had tried it with images because previously we were told that it only works with text. So if you have a template where you just need the text, that's why we say tips, testimonials, things like that, where you just need the text to switch out. Um, or I mean, like think about it this way, like maybe you're doing a about us series and you're wanting to post about your company, right? But you've set up the template in a way that only this text box needs to be switched out, right? I don't see why you couldn't use Bulk Create to do that. You just need to have everything live within that spreadsheet. It has to be a spreadsheet, not a Google Doc. And and then it's as quick as just linking the text box with the text that it's pulled from your spreadsheet, and boom, you're done. It generates a project with up to you can have up to 100 images. I don't know about you, Rich. I don't have 100 testimonials lying around. I wish I did, but I don't.
Yeah.
So I think it's
But
a
you probably do have
phenomenal.
100 tips. So there you go.
Yeah, I absolutely could come up with 100 tips. So that's really
Yeah,
what I use it for. But my goal is eventually to make it to where I have 100 testimonials that I can just
absolutely.
pop in there.
So when you're doing this work, shoot, I just lost my train of thought. Gigi, just please make a note of the timestamp. She's actually in the room with me right now, and she just basically flipped me off. All right, so where was I going to go with this? We're talking about the big uploads. I know. So one of the things that I do like about Canva in my limited time there is the brand kits that you can kind of build into this. And I know when I log into Flight's account, I see us, AOC, and all of our clients there. And by clicking on different ones, it just automatically chooses the right fonts and the right color schemes. I'm assuming that any of the AI work you're talking about also you can just kind of plug into your brand guidelines and Canva will stay consistent. Is that correct?
Yes. So remember how I said Canva keeps making all these changes and a lot of times people aren't really tracking them. One of the beautiful changes that came in December was the fact that you can now, when you're using Canva AI, there's an option, there's a plus sign there that you can actually apply a specific brand kit, which is beautiful. Before you could use Canva AI, but not really have it apply all of those brand elements, which then you would have to later adjust. Now you are able to select exactly which brand kit you want. So it's very important to have updated brand kits, right? We don't want to have anything in there that's old. And so as long as you have updated your brand kit, which they've also expanded, by the way, brand kits now, if you haven't gone back to take a look, you really should go back and review. You can add things like sample charts. You can add brand voice specifics. Before I used to have a nice little paragraph in there about my particular company. Now I can go in and say, do this, but don't do this. Do this, but don't do this, which is beautiful. In a lot of the trainings that I do teach, one of the main things that we focus on is building your brand voice guidelines, and we use Chat GPT to do that. I have a custom GPT that allows you to upload all of your work, anything from print to social, provide website URLs, and it does a really great job of populating what your brand voice is, and it details what you should do, what you shouldn't do. Once we do that within the brand voice builder, we literally have to just plug and play into a Canva brand kit, and it works really seamlessly.
Emily, when you're doing these batch jobs, can you also create it so that you can get one version that's optimized for Instagram, another for LinkedIn, another for Facebook, so on and so forth?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that I like to do it, instead of adding Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram within the same project file, I work on, let's say, start with the Facebook post and just go through and create like 10 to 15, right, within that batch. Then I like to use, this is a Canva Pro feature. So you have to have Pro, which is like super cheap to get. I think it's like $119 a year. Once you have Canva Pro, you are then able to use Magic Resize. Magic Resize allows you to then take all of those images that you've created as a Facebook post and resize it to Instagram or any other social media platform that you would like to resize for, which makes it super, super easy, because when it's time for posting and I'm on Facebook, that's why I don't like to mix them, because when I'm on Facebook, I want to just pull from the Facebook folder. When I'm on LinkedIn and I'm trying to schedule post, I want to just work with my LinkedIn folder. And so that way it works pretty seamlessly, if that makes sense.
It absolutely does, and that's a great workflow hack. So thanks for that. Now, for some businesses, copyright is a big issue, and it should
Yes.
really be a big issue for everybody. But when it comes to creating the images, graphics, or video in Canva, what rights do we have for the content that's been generated?
Yes, that's a really great question and a super important question, because what people don't realize is if you use Canva stock, so anything that lives under the elements option, right? There are copyright licensing issues in place. When you use Magic Media, though, Canva's giving you rights to use that particular image. The warning that I want to give, because my husband had a really great idea. We have toddler twins, they're 2.5 years old. And I don't know about you, but you just keep watching Coco Melon and all these different videos, and you're like, man, I could just make this. Like, I'm tired of all of these songs. I'm tired of going from Bibif into Cocomelon. And so it's like, what if we just generated, he had this, his genius idea was to just generate a video on his own. And one of the reasons why is we speak multiple languages, and one of the languages we don't really have content for, so the twins aren't learning. And so he sat down to generate this video, and he was like, I'm just going to try to do it on my own. Well, guess what? Magic Media provided Dory and Nemo in one of the images, even though he didn't say Pixar. If you use words like Pixar or Disney, it will flag it, and it'll say like, this doesn't meet our guidelines. But I was surprised he had not done that, and we
Mm.
still ended up with Dory and Nemo, and he doesn't know Dory and Nemo. So I very quickly was like, you can't use that, the red flag.
Yeah.
So people do have to be careful. You can't just use anything that the tool spits out. We need to remember that these AI tools are kind of working through their kinks right now. As great as they are, there are going to be times where they may produce a result that you don't want. Similar to ChatGPT putting placeholder text or creating testimonials for your company. I've had that happen before. So same word of caution there, if that makes sense.
Yes, it's unfortunate that it generated two characters from the most litigious company on the
Yes,
planet, but okay.
yes.
All right, you had talked a little bit earlier about text to image and text to video capabilities. Those always sound cool, and I love playing around with them. But what are the practical applications for a typical business? Where should or could they be using these images outside of social media, perhaps?
I use them everywhere. I use them for presentations. I use them for, um, I mean, almost anything. Like whether it's, I'm a little bit cautious on using things like that for signage, because obviously, like that's large format printing, and sometimes you will occasionally get a particular image that's not high quality, but a lot of times it blows my mind away how high quality the results are. And so I think you can use them anywhere. It doesn't have to be social media specifically. You just have to figure out the best use case for it. Does it make sense is really what we need to be asking ourselves. I think out of those three, the most popular are text to image, and then text to video. Text to video is phenomenal. I don't know if you've tried it out before. I think in our workshop, I probably went through it, and you may have seen it with the race car. But it does a really great job of providing high quality video. It's not a joke. Like it's really great stuff. And so a lot of times people ask me, but it's only 5.8 seconds. But again, for social media content or for like a quick video that you might be creating, right? I may only need the 5.8 seconds for like a glimpse of something, and then move on to like a title screen and transition into maybe another similar video. The other thing that I'll call out is text to image specifically. They've recently made it to where if you have a particular image that you like, you can now upload it as a reference image, is what they're calling it. That works really great. I recently just did a presentation deck for one of my talks, because it's Women's History Month. And so I was preparing a talk for that about my journey. And I kind of went with this comic theme. And it was nice because I was able to still use images that it had generated for me before to use the same style, just give me like another version. So there's a lot really that you can do with it that most people don't realize.
Yeah, I took my still imagery from the Agents of Change, the agents themselves, and dropped them into Canva at one point and animated them, and then also took out the background, which I thought was
Yeah,
even slicker, so that I could put them, I still needed to put them on the same more or less color background just because there are
yeah,
limits to the technology, but it was still pretty slick. And yes, it took multiple tries, but I ultimately got there. So I think that there are creative uses that people could have. No, Canva's probably not
absolutely.
ready to make a full-on 2 hour, sequel to
Yeah,
the MCU, but for
yeah.
your marketing purposes, or it may be exactly what you need.
Absolutely. And the fun fact with the background remover is most people don't realize that you can use background remover on video as well.
Yeah, that's very slick. That's what I discovered, and I was like, oh, this is definitely a game changer in
Yes,
terms of making social media images where the animated characters could be
yes,
part of that image. Um,
absolutely.
so there's a lot of AI image generation tools out there. ChatGPT is Dolly. There's Midjourney. I've been loving Nano Banana lately. In your opinion, where does Canva fit into that ecosystem? And do you combine those tools with Canva? Do you only use Canva? Or is it kind of like it depends on what the use case is?
For me, it personally depends on what the use case is. I think Canva is really great for people that still want some level of control. How many times have you sat down with like ChatGPT or like some other tool, right? And you think you're being very detailed in describing what's in your head, but the result is still not quite there. And I don't know about you, I get really frustrated really fast because I could just do it myself. So I I that's where I think I really like Canva because Canva gives me a lot of different ways that I can go about making the image my own. For example, there are times where I might have a image of a coffee mug sitting on a desk, right? But maybe I just want to grab it and move it to the different side and add the rest of the artwork that I want. Magic Grab will let you do that, right? So and then there are several other tools within Magic Studio that really allow you to make the image your own. So if you're one of those people that's like, I use ChatGPT, I use Dolly, I use all these tools, and I'm still not getting exactly what I want, or you feel like it just looks too fake, it's not quite generating a realistic image that you would want, then I think Canva is the direction to go because it really does give you some of that control where you are able to move certain things around and erase things with Magic Eraser. There's a lot of different features available now that really allow you to go big or go home with it.
All right. If somebody listening right now wanted to take one practical step to improving their Canva AI chops, what would it be?
I think the most important thing to note is that Canva has a really robust community, and Canva is really good at listening to what that community is saying. So, for example, April, when they came out with a big update with the four major product developments, at the end of it, there was a song where they literally released 47 other wishes that members of their community had submitted. So if you don't like a specific feature, or if there's a feature that you wish there that was there, then don't feel shy, like go ahead and submit that. And also along with that, Canva has a lot of resources available for you to learn about Canva. I don't think people realize that there's like a Canva color palette generator. There's a AI image enhancer. There's a QR code generator. So a lot of times we're going to all these other tools trying to get the QR code. And I don't know if you've kind of come across this, but if you use certain free versions of like a QR code generator, then it pops up with an ad before you get to the content. And sometimes I wonder if we lose people along the way. Well, go ahead and use Canva's QR code generator. A lot of times people are paying a lot of money to have someone else generate a color palette. Now you can upload a particular graphic that you like and it'll pull out the color palette for you. So really just take a look and spend some time learning about the tool. There's a lot of resources available. YouTube is your friend. I have several trainings that I do. So I think just give the tool a shot. I think $119 a year is well worth the money compared to paying $79.99 on Adobe. I just let my Adobe subscription go recently. It was a huge, huge decision. Um, Starting out as a designer, Adobe was the only place that I spent my time. And Canva's now, given me that comfort where I feel like it's okay now to part ways with my friend Adobe and just stick to Canva.
All right. Hey, if people want to learn more about you, Malia, or maybe they want to learn about your courses or even look into hiring you to help them with their images, where can we send them online?
Well, you can go to my website, connectthedots.com, and connect is spelled Khanect. It's a play off my last name. So go ahead and go to the website and let's start a conversation, or you can take a look at the events tab to see all the workshops and trainings that are coming up.
Awesome. And we'll have those links in the show notes. Malia, so nice to see you again. Thank you again for coming by.
Thanks for having me.